part of the guide to practice is that we've got a safety assessment that we can offer you. We would offer you the safety assessment, which is a fire protection, fire rated blocks, fire dampers and that. We would actually go and survey what you've got in your stock for you and then come back and report to you what you've got or what you could do with to upgrade to keep you compliant with the regulations. We'll look at the conditions of the systems, the accessibility and obviously the hazards that are in there, the asbestos, we've said that before. Maybe you've got corrosion. Imagine the fans on the roof, if they're not housed in a nice little brick building, they've been exposed to, well, we get a little bit of rain in this country, not a lot of sunshine. So there's a lot of normally rust or corrosion on these metal ducts. The weatherproofing, which might be PIB, you might have Stuttgart, whatever around there, it might have broken down. And then that then introduces another problem we have, which is vermin, which is normally the pigeon, especially in London. They'll sit in there because these ducts are very warm. So it's an ideal place, it's free central heating, there's no bills to pay for them. And they'll sit in there, and when the actual ducts break down, we have found nests in these inside the ductworks with pigeons themselves, obviously. And when they're in there, they're inquisitive. And they start going downwards and have a look where it is. And they can get down into the riser shafts, and then they can't get back out. It might be, unfortunately, the fan was stopped or changed. You know, somebody's got twin fans on these roofs. One stops, one starts up. If there's enough gap, the pigeons will get in there. If they can't get out, they're stuck. No food source, no water. They're going to die, unfortunately, in there. And then you've got other problems. So it is important that the ducting on the roof or feeding to the fans is looked at and maintained to make sure it is fit for purpose. And then the last one is the grille condition. A lot of the grills we come across inside the properties are either blocked, gone, covered over, or I get funny smells out of that, or it's too noisy. I put a picture of me mother on that, or whatever. It's all designed to be balanced to work, and if some people are blocking their systems up, then it's detrimental to the flats or the properties above. So, you know, it's important that you do a regular inspection so you can actually see this. Now, that does open up another can of worms where some of the residents own their own properties within this social housing stock, and it's not as easy to get in and tell them what to do with it. But it's just advisable to explain to them that it's for their benefit. It can stop things like damp starting in the bathrooms. It can stop things like toxic mould. I'm not saying it's all prevalent to that, but it could. I've got a couple of clips I'd like to show you now on what we find when we go inside. So this is what we tend to, this is from the shunt. You remember the little picture of the little stubby bits of ductwork? I've got hundreds of these clips. It's not the worst I've ever found. We just picked one out for you. This is showing our CCTV going in the little length of ductwork that's inside these properties. And as you can see, there's a build-up. At the end of that shunt was the first part of the riser. There's a build-up of fibre, paper, skin, maybe grease if it's a bit of kitchen and bathroom extract going into one. And you can imagine that is an ignition waiting to happen, basically, isn't it? So you've got to try and prevent it. The best way of preventing it is to clean it out. So it goes on for a little while. I don't know how much you want to see. Does it put you off your lunch yet? If it has, I can just tell the caterers and save some money. But this is typical of what we find. This is 40 to 50 years sometimes of build-up. And then from these shunts, we can go down to the actual riser. Now this is the long one going down, obviously the building coming from the shunts. You should see some shunts where the actual lips come across for each floor. But this is going down. You can see that the actual system's still working because the fibres are coming up. I might just move it on. This is quite long. I don't know if you can see, but in the right-hand corner, it's actually telling us exactly where we are. We're at 12 metres, I think, and 4 inches. So it's actually showing you exactly where. So if there was a blockage or a problem, we would know within a few inches exactly where it is. So we know where to advise you to go in and cut it out. Now that's a shunt coming, as I was saying. So the CCTV's come down the riser. We found a shunt. We try and go back into the shunt so we can see what's happening behind from the first original CCTV that you saw from the actual dwelling itself. This is where it gets a little bit difficult for us because you might be 14 or 15 metres away trying to turn the CCTV camera at the moment. So we have to sort of wait for it. So you can see we're at 15 metres or 15.2 metres now, so we know exactly where we are on this riser. So that might be something like, I don't know, it might be from top to bottom, I'm not sure where we're going around, but that might be the 5th floor, it might be the 15th floor, but we know exactly where we are, and all the way down. So all that fibre and contamination you saw from these shunts is coming into this riser and then being pulled up. But if the fan's not man enough for it, it's getting halfway up, I'll go back down again, and it's never really clearing it all. When the system is cleaned, all that you're seeing from our CCTV is what we can, if we can get to it with a CCTV, we can clean it. So we're not allowed to put small boys on ropes anymore, something about health and safety, so we've had to develop more technical equipment that goes down, that rotates and actually aggravates all this fibres and dust, and then we have an air system that pulls it back to our own fan system that collects it, and then we don't just throw it off the roof, we take it away for you as well. We don't want to introduce it to the block next door, because you might have to pay for us to come and clean that then. But if the CCTV can get there, so can we. So if you had that presented to you from a safety assessment form, I think it gives you sort of think, maybe we should be doing something here. You know, it could be you, it could be your parents or grandparents, could be living in social housing stock like this. And I think if the residents were to see things like that, they'd have a lot to complain about. And, you know, for decent homes, this is what, you know, the government want us to do, have a decent home to live in. You repair and replace the windows, which is absolutely fine. What that does to us on these social housing block is actually make the ventilation system even more inadequate, because there's no natural air movement, because all these new sealed units, I know you have to have a breathing brick or a little bit at the top of the window, but they always find a way of covering them up. And then suddenly that puts more strain on the ventilation system to get it to draw it away. So it's probably more important nowadays that these ventilation systems are looked at.